Before we start, I want to let you know that you're going to have a chance to take your own notes a little later in this video. If you'd like, you can pause the video right now and get some notepaper and a pen. Okay, are you ready? Before we get into specifics for each part, let's cover some basic note-taking strategies. If you haven't done a lot of this before, you might be wondering how to get started. How do you organize your notes? Well, different people prefer different layouts, so the bottom line is that you should take notes in whatever way is most comfortable for you. But right now, we're going to make a chart because that's an easy way to clearly divide ideas on the page. You should also try and take notes in point form. This will make things way easier and a lot quicker. You don't have to write in full sentences. In each listening part, there are some things we know even before the audio starts. In listening part 1, for example, we know that there will be two speakers, a man and a woman. So we can add that to the chart. What else can we add? Prior to listening, we're presented with an image that will give us some information about the general context of the conversation. Here, we see a woman at a desk talking to a man. They could be in a lobby or an office. Along with the image, we can see a brief statement about the dialogue. You will listen to a conversation between a male university student and a woman who works in student services. Now we know that the conversation is taking place at the Student Services Department of a university, and the speakers are a male student and a female student services worker. It's good to keep in mind that note-taking is all about making things easier for yourself. If I wanted to save a bit of time, I could even shorten my notes like this. Remember that the conversation in listening part 1 is divided into 3 parts. To clarify your notes, you could even split your page into 3 sections like this. It's also good to note that the questions in each of the 3 parts only refer to the dialogue of that respective part. In other words, the questions for the 3rd part of the conversation will only refer to the 3rd part, not the 1st part. One last thing before we begin. When you take notes, listen for the main ideas and key words of the conversation. Don't just write down every word you hear. In listening part 1, one speaker helps another speaker with a problem. In this case, what is the student asking the woman at student services? What's the main issue here? Let's find out. Okay, here we go. We're going to listen to the first part of the conversation. As you listen to the audio, watch what sort of notes I make.
Hello, I'm a new student. Is this where I come to get my locker?
Yes, but you have to rent one. It's not included in your student fees.
Oh, it isn't? How much does it cost?
$20 per semester for a half-sized locker, $30 for a full-sized.
I see. Okay, I'll rent a full-sized one. I'll need it for my backpack, my books, my jacket.
Where would you like your locker?
I don't really know.
Well, where are most of your classes? Most students choose a locker close to where they spend most of their time. Some students want a locker in the athletic complex. Others want it near the library.
Oh, in the humanities building, please. Most of my classes are there, and it's beside the library. I only have one class in the psychology building, and I don't think I'll be using the athletic complex much.
Okay, I'll give you number 2894 for now. But why don't you go take a look? And if there's another one you'd rather rent, just write down the number, come back, and we'll make the switch.
Alright, let's have a quick look. You'll notice that my notes are pretty short. None of them are full sentences, and it's even okay if the grammar isn't perfect. And oops, I even made a couple spelling mistakes. That's totally fine. As long as your notes help you organize your thoughts, that's all that matters. Remember that you're not being scored on your notes. They're just to help you out. Now here's a question from this part of the conversation. Remember that in listening parts 1, 2, and 3, you don't read the question, you only hear it. Why has the man come to the woman? I know from my notes that the man wants information about his locker. Lockers are a type of facility at universities, so B, to get information about facilities, is the correct answer. Now let's listen to the next section of the conversation. This time, I won't make any notes during the audio. Instead, try to make your own notes on a piece of paper. After the audio is finished, we'll compare. Ready to begin?
Hello again. I went to locker number 2894, but there's no lock on it.
Oh, yes. You'll need to buy your own.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You can buy one at the bookstore or any hardware store.
Does it have to be a certain kind of lock?
No. Most students prefer combination locks, but some like the kind that takes a key. The bookstore sells the combination kind.
I'd better get a combination one. I'd lose the key within a week. Is the bookstore open right now?
Yes, until 4. And about those keys, you usually get 2. But I know what you mean. I'd lose my head if it weren't attached to my body.
What sort of notes did you take? Did you find it easy or difficult to identify the main ideas? Now let's compare. Did you write down any of the same notes? You should have noted that the main idea here was that the man's locker didn't have a lock, so he came back to student services to ask about it. You probably also noticed that some of my notes contain images. That's also fine. Images can be even quicker to jot down. Just do whatever you're most comfortable with. Here's a question for this part. Why has the man returned to student services? We know from our notes that the man still needs a lock, so C, he needs a lock for his locker, is the correct answer. Okay, so in this video, we've discussed the main note-taking strategies, using listening part 1 as an example. In the next 5 videos, we're going to talk about the differences between the other listening parts that you should be aware of as you set up your notes. In the final video, we're going to do a brief summary about everything we've discussed.